What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in the building with another banger, man. So first things first, before we get even started, I just want to go ahead and say thank you, God, for giving me this opportunity. Thank y'all. And man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Anybody who wants to join the Rich Gang family, and that means you, go ahead and turn on post notifications. Be sure to go ahead and hit that like button and also drop a comment down below when done. Now, as y'all can see by the looks of the title and the screen today, I'm going to be bringing y'all the top 3 most rare unseen builds that you have probably not even seen yet when it comes down to NBA 2K22 on next gen. Now, the first build that I got lined up for y'all is going to be called an all-around two-way build. Now, I know that y'all love the lockdown defender builds, so that is why most definitely that I got to go ahead and bring y'all probably the most rare build in all of 2K. So, the first thing that you want to go ahead and do is, of course, put this build under the small forward position. That is going to be a majority of the positions when it comes down to the rare builds are being made out of. Now, for the height, I'm going to go with 6'6". As for the weight, I'm liking 180 with a 7 feet exactly wingspan. Now, once we go ahead and take it a step further, once we get into the breakdown of the attributes, just please be sure to follow along. I want y'all to get the same exact build name that I'm bringing to y'all. I don't want y'all to change it up. So again, just be sure to follow along, and I promise you everything's going to be set up right. Now, let's go ahead and get into the finishing. So as you can see on this build, we're going to be able to get elite contact dunks if you go ahead and adjust the vertical to maintain those animations. But pretty much on the finishing side, you're going to end up with 17 badges. Now, for the shooting, I'm going to go ahead and say you have to be very specific with each category on this build. So I'm going to go with a mid-range shot of 86. Then the three-pointer is going to be an 84. Then I'm going to go ahead and bring up that free throw as well to a 70. And we're going to be able to get 28 shooting badges. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the playmaking. I'm going to go with an 81 pass accuracy, 83 ball handle, and an 83 speed with ball for 27 playmaking badges. Now, as we go ahead and get into the defensive end, you're really going to go ahead and see what makes this a lockdown defender build. So, once we go ahead and start upgrading, as you can see, pretty well rounded when it comes down to the defensive end. We're going to end up with 20 badges, and then also consider we're going to be able to add extra badge points to this build, especially if you decided to go ahead and grind out each and every season. That means we're going to be able to do a lot of different things on this build, especially when it comes down to adding certain badge points in other areas. Now, you have the potential of getting 10 plus extra badges out of this build. Really solid, considering that you're going to be able to get up to at least 30 plus shooting and playmaking badges if you upgrade those areas. But when it comes down to the takeovers, we get the shot creating, sharpshooting, playmaking, and then last but definitely not least, to wrap it up, we're also going to be able to get the lockdown takeover. So whichever one you decide to go with, this is completely up to y'all. But for my liking, I would really have to say the shot creating takeover is something that I would really consider. But honestly, limitless range takeover is very overpowered as well. The last one, I'm going to leave it up to y'all. It really comes down to your playstyle and preference. And now, as y'all can see, we have made the first ever all-around two-way build. Now, I know I have seen this build posted previously from myself, but today I'm bringing y'all another version of it, a different way to really consider how you can make this build, just something to throw out there. But I also like the comparison of Jaylen Brown. Now, let's go ahead and check out the second build on this list, a two-way slashing 5, and of course, this is going to be made out of the center position. Now, what I decided to go ahead and do with this build was mix 2 of the most toxic attributes of any build together in one. So I decided to go with the defensive end and the finishing to make this two-way slashing 5. And I'm telling you, with this build, you're going to be able to do a lot of special things with it, including getting that rim protecting takeover. So if you are still here watching, man, we're about to get halfway through the video. Y'all might as well as hit that like button, turn on post notifications, hit that subscribe button so you can join the family, and be sure to go ahead and drop a comment down below when you did it. Now, let's go ahead and get into the making. We're going to go ahead and put this build under the center position. Now, once we go ahead and get into the height, weight, and wingspan, this is what's really going to go ahead and make this build more overpowered than most centers. And especially with what this build comes with, I'm telling you, you're going to be able to do a lot of great things that a normal 5 would not be able to do. Now for this build, I really also have to say, I'm liking how 6ix9ine is looking not only for this build, but a majority of the center builds. Now that's if you want to be more versatile. Again, you can always go 6'10 and up, but I feel like you lose a lot of attributes when it comes down to the playmaking and more importantly, the shooting. So right here, I like the weight of 217. You can still see it in the top right screen. Then you can also go with a 7'7 wingspan. That's what's really going to take this build over. Now, as y'all can see right there, we're going to be able to get the pro contact dunks as long as you adjust the vertical to a 70. Going to also end up with a 99 post control once you add boost. 22 badges, so honestly, I'm telling you, it only continues to get even better. Now, for the shooting, we're maxing out both the midi and the three-pointer. Going to end up with 23 badges and a 70 free throw, which is going to be perfect to take this build into any game mode of your choosing. Then once we go ahead and get into the playmaking, here is where things are going to wrap up even better. So as you can see, we're maxing out the ball handle and speed with ball, going with the 72 pass accuracy, and that's going to leave us with 18 badges. Now for the defensive end, we're about to go ahead and see what really makes this build a true two-way. So for my liking, I'm going to upgrade the perimeter defense, steal, and the block, and even the interior to a 79. Gonna upgrade the rebounding a little bit, and we're gonna end off with 25 defensive badges. Now I'm telling you, the way that this build is made, you're gonna be able to guard any position 1 through the 5, and more so importantly, once you do go ahead and add in that rim protecting takeover, you're gonna be able to be even more toxic on the inside when it comes down to guarding bigger centers, power forwards, and even small forwards. Now, as you can see, we do get the post-scoring takeover, rim protecting, lockdown with the playmaking, which means we're going to be able to speed boost on this build. So the first one that I would really take into consideration, if you're trying to make this build more unique, go with advanced post moves for the first one. You could double up with the post scoring takeover if you want to and still carry over the defensive stats that you have. But for me, just to be even, I would go with the rim protecting or the lockdown takeover. Really comes down to what you want to do. But as you can see, we have made the two-way slashing 5 build, and I'm telling you, I love the comparison of Bill Russell, y'all. The build is only going to continue to get even better as you upgrade it, so just something to take into consideration. Now, let's go ahead and get into the third and final build that I got lined up for y'all. Going to be called the two-way post playmaker with shot creating takeover, and what that means is we are going to be able to break ankles on this build. So if you decided to stick around, making it to the very end of this video, making it to the very last build as well, just know that I truly appreciate y'all. I love y'all and I thank y'all, and I'm telling you, out of all builds, this is easily my favorite when it comes down to what we're going to be able to do. I love the build name. I love everything that we're going to be able to move around and work around with this build, because you're going to be able to play small, but also even play big. So just a huge consideration to take in. Now, let's go ahead and get into the making. And first things first, what you want to go ahead and do is put this build under the power forward position. Now, I know that I tell y'all this every single time, but just be sure to make sure that you're following along with me with every single thing that I do when it comes down to this build. The reason being is because I do not want y'all to make a different build name. I want y'all to come out with what I'm bringing to y'all, and that is honestly, to me, the most important thing that I can say about this. But now, let's go ahead and take it a step further. So as you can see, once we go ahead and get into the breakdown of the physicals, I'm going with 6'8", 280, and a 7'6" wingspan. But once we go ahead and take it a step further from here, I'm telling you, the build is really going to be outstanding. Once you go ahead and check out the finishing, we're going to be able to get elite contact dunks, y'all. Then on top of all that, really take into consideration the shooting is still definitely there. We're also going to be able to add extra badge points. Then with all this taken into consideration, the biggest thing in my opinion definitely has to be that we are going to be able to get over 100 badges on this build. Now, if you are really one that wants to go ahead and spread the wealth, you definitely can do so, but I'm even liking how the playmaking is looking very solid, and more so importantly, if you decide to go ahead and make this build for dribbling purposes, you got to go ahead and make sure that you are buying all of the ball handling or the dribbling boosts when it comes down to it. You do have the potential to speed boost, break ankles. A lot of different things do come with this build, which is why I saved it the best for last. But honestly, any three of these builds would really compare up nice to this one. Now, when it comes down to the physicals, I know a little bit different from what we are used to, but that is only because we are adjusting the strength on this build. Now, if you want a higher stamina, feel free to make your own changes to this build as you please, but I'm telling you, this is definitely one way that I would really consider going about it because of how well rounded it is and the versatility. But now, from here, let's go ahead and just say I would really consider this to be the best build out of all three on this list. Now, the shot creating takeover, sharpshooting, playmaking, and the rim protecting. Again, if you are still here watching, I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Go ahead and turn on post notifications and hit that like button to go ahead and join the Rich Gang family. Drop a comment down below when complete. And I'm going with the shot creating takeover as well as the rim protecting. And as y'all can see, together we have made the two-way post playmaker. I love y'all, I thank y'all, and I appreciate y'all. And just know, with all that being said, I got one last thing to say. Thank God and Rich out.